Hey everybody, Dave McKeown here. Thanks so much for stopping by for this new look, updated version of Lead From Anywhere, where I tackle your biggest leadership challenges and answer some of your burning leadership questions. I've got 3 great questions to cover today, but before I do, if you've got a particular challenge you'd like me to cover or a question that you'd like me to answer, feel free to shoot an email to dave@outfieldleadership.com. That's dave@outfieldleadership.com, and I'll be sure to answer it on an upcoming episode. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit like to ensure that you get notified when new videos come out. So 3 tough leadership questions that I'm going to cover for you. Let's get stuck right in. All right, let's get stuck in with question number 1. So Amy has a great question. She says, how can I keep my team motivated during these uncertain times? And uncertain times they are indeed. As I see it, there are really 3 ways in which leaders are showing up at the minute, 2 of which are not particularly helpful, and 1 which I think is the route forward. So let's look at the unhelpful ones first of all. The first way to not show up is to lead through fear, which is ultimately just to bury your head in the sand, hope that this will all go away one day and that you'll somehow emerge unscathed from it. The reality is that those people, those organizations, those teams that are finding a way to reinvent themselves, to find new ways to serve their customers, their community, to find new ways to develop their people, they're the ones that aren't leading through fear. On the flip side, when you're leading through fear, you've just got your head in the sand and your fingers in your ears and you're just hoping that it'll all go away. So number 1, don't lead through fear. Number 2, I think also don't lead through certainty. I think there are some leaders that are showing up and saying, look, we've been through tough times before, so we absolutely have the tools that we need to get through it. I think that the times that we're going through at the minute are unlike anything else that we've faced before. And so just showing up with certainty is a little inauthentic, because I don't think anybody can be that certain. So don't lead through fear, don't lead through certainty. It leaves really the third option, which is to lead through vulnerability. And by that I mean just being open, honest, and transparent with your people and saying, yeah, this is a tough time. This is like no other time in history that we've ever been through. And then share with them your perspective. Hey, this is my thoughts. Here's a direction that we could go in. I'm not 100% sure. What are your thoughts? What do you think? And just open up the discussion to allow for more innovative, more collaborative solutions to emerge. Show up and lead with that sense of vulnerability, and your people will respond to you in a positive way, because they know that we can't lead through certainty, and we know that leading through fear isn't helpful. So when you show up with vulnerability, you've got more opportunity and more chance to emerge from this stronger, better, serving your customers in a more profound way. So there you have it, Amy. Lead through vulnerability rather than certainty or fear, and I hope that that'll help you motivate your team in this time of uncertainty. Second question today comes in from Russ. He says, I have an inexperienced leadership team. They are too reactive and they jump the gun too often. How can I get them to slow down and be more deliberate about their decision making? It's a interesting dynamic that is quite prevalent, that in our world where everything seems urgent and we feel like we need to move faster than fast, leaders, particularly new leaders, have a tendency to want to make decisions quickly because they feel that that's what brings agility to your organization. What you can actually do is share with them that there are 2 parts of decisions. There's making the decision and then there's implementing it. And actually where your agility lies is in your ability to implement fast, to implement quickly, not necessarily to make decisions quickly. What happens often is if we're making decisions really quickly, we have a tendency to overlook key bits of data. We have a tendency to overlook key voices that need to be involved in the decision. We have a tendency to overlook perspectives that we need. And so we make a decision quickly. We feel like we're going to be agile and we're going to go out and deliver it. But actually the implementation can slow down, because as we begin to try to push things out, we realize that we didn't consult with everybody that we needed to, that we didn't have all of the voices in the room that we needed, that we didn't consider all of the data. And just sharing or showing with your team that the power power and the strength that they bring lies in their ability to implement fast, not to make their decisions quickly. And just encourage them to slow down the decision making process, not to make it slow, but just to ensure that you've got a little bit of time built into the decision making process to review key data, to ensure that you've got the perspectives that you need to make the decision and stack hands on it, so that ultimately when you leave the room, you're able to go and implement it quickly. So that would be my advice for you, Russ. Share with your team the impact of rushing a decision-making process as it applies to the implementation, and I hope that will get you where you need to go. And our third question today comes in from Alicia, who says, how do I deal with my boss who's consistently shifting priorities? My team is overloaded enough as it is. Another common dynamic where decisions get made on high and begin to roll down the organization. And what typically happens is your boss comes to you and says, hey, do you have time to do this? Or have you got the ability to do this? And our response and our answer is almost always, yeah, sure. And then we try to figure out how we're going to deliver on that. The problem with that is twofold. Number one, the reality is your team is likely overloaded, and so you're going to have to find a way to put it into their mix. But also number two, in a lot of cases, your boss doesn't even have an understanding of what's on your to-do list or your plate that needs to get done. And so I'm always encouraging my clients to have adult-to-adult conversations when things like this happen, which is to build up enough of a relationship with your boss to be able to say, hey, I'm happy to take on this new task, or happy for us to shift priorities. However, can we just go through what's currently on our list at the minute, because something's going to have to give. And just turning up and being open and honest about that. One of two things is going to happen. Either your boss is going to go, oh my goodness, I didn't even realize you were that overloaded. Of course, let's figure out a way to prioritize that. That's a win. Let's hope that happens. Or they come and they kick off a fuss and they kick and scream and demand that you get it done, in which case you know that you're working for a jerk boss, and at that stage then you get the decision of whether or not you want to stay working there. The worst thing that you can do, however, is just say yes and then try to figure out how you're going to deliver it, because you're going to end up demoralized, your team's going to end up demoralized, and you're all going to end up with a degree of burnout and, let's face it, delivering a less than stellar quality of work. So my guidance is always, if your boss comes to you with a request, with an ask, with something that they want you to do, just be open, honest, have that adult conversation and say, I would love to help. Let's take a look at that workload and see what you want me to focus on, because we only have so much bandwidth to focus on a certain set of activities, projects, and relationships. So there you have it, Alicia. I hope that's helpful. Just find a way to have an open, honest dialogue with your boss about your priority list and what's there, and hope that'll help you in your situation. So there you have it, folks. 3 questions for me during... So there you have it, folks. The first in the rebranded, re-updated version of Lead From Anywhere. This is a series that I hope to run at least 4 or 5 times a week. So if you've got any questions, feel free to let me know at dave@outfieldleadership.com, and I'll see you on the next episode.